U.S. foreign policy towards Central Asia and Kazakhstan will remain consistent regardless of the outcome of the presidential elections, said U.S. Ambassador to Kazakhstan Daniel Rosenblum in an exclusive interview with New Time. He noted that over the past decades, the United States has consistently supported the sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of the region's countries, irrespective of the administration's party affiliation. Moreover, Daniel Rosenblum discussed the close cooperation between the two countries. Please watch the fragment of this interview. So, dear Ambassador, thank you very much that you agreed to do this interview. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. So, let me start with this question. The entire world awaits the US elections. So, my question is, how could you describe the mood in American society at this very moment? And how is it going to affect the upcoming presidential elections?
So there's a lot of anticipation in America right now, just like in the rest of the world. A lot of focus on the upcoming election. As is obvious, I think, to most people in the world, our political system right now is very closely divided between the two parties and the two candidates. So everyone is wondering the outcome. I think it's interesting to note that in a democracy, you don't know the outcome of every election in advance. That's one of the features of it, and that's very much true in our country right now, and this particular one. I personally have been through many elections and many changes of administration. I've worked at the State Department for almost 28 years, and in that time have worked under 5 different presidents, going back to President Bill Clinton. I think the good thing in terms of foreign policy and especially policy here in Central Asia is that there's been more continuity than change over those years, even as administrations have changed. And I expect the same to happen after this election as well. But of course, you know, everyone is wondering what the outcome will be. We'll see in less than a week, and then, you know, I don't predict there will be any big change in policy towards Central Asia.
How would you evaluate the strategic partnership between U.S. and Kazakhstan in recent years? So, which areas have seen the most increase and development?
Yeah, it's. I would evaluate it highly. You probably expected I would say that because I'm responsible for this bilateral relationship here in Kazakhstan as the ambassador, but in fact I think there's a lot of really tangible progress that we've made in the relationship in recent years. Just last month, or in late September, so about a month ago, was this meeting in New York City on the margins of the UN General Assembly of the C5+1. The 5 foreign ministers of the Central Asian countries meeting with our Secretary of State, and I think that meeting demonstrated that the level of trust is very high, the level of cooperation is very high. And I will add that Kazakhstan has consistently been a leader in that effort, has been pushing for more global cooperation, more regional cooperation, and working with the U.S. as a partner. Of course, there's many more aspects to our strategic partnership than I can summarize in a few words in this interview, but I will say that, you know, in every area, whether it's security cooperation between our two countries, economic cooperation, or cooperation on political or governance issues, we see progress in every field. And on the sort of political and governance side of things, we maintain just in the last 2 to 3 years, we've, I would say, intensified our dialogue with Kazakhstan on issues of human rights. We have something we call the high-level dialogue on human rights. And, you know, while there are areas of more progress and areas of less progress, we've just in the last year seen some breakthroughs in Kazakhstan, I think, with respect to domestic violence, with respect to trafficking in persons, with new legislation being passed. And obviously that's not solely because of the relationship between the U.S. and Kazakhstan, but I believe that's contributed to some of these areas of progress.
I can't help but ask you, Amid the global sanctions, how is US and Kazakhstan are working together to face these challenges?
Yeah, the sanctions that are in place, of course, I think everyone understands, are not targeted at Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, of course, because of its geographic position, its economic relationships, is affected, though, and we understand that. And so we've especially appreciated the position that the government of Kazakhstan has taken on this question, given its relationships and its economic ties with Russia. And the position has been consistently that Kazakhstan will not violate the international sanctions and will not be a platform for avoiding the sanctions or circumventing the sanctions. That's not easy to achieve, and we've worked very closely as partners with the government of Kazakhstan to make it easier by explaining the different sanctions rules, especially because they change over time as more sanctions are added, by sometimes doing briefings for the private sector as well, the banks and companies here, so that they understand the rules as well. And when specific challenges arise, where Kazakhstan is being especially hurt by one of the sanctions, we talk about ways that that can be mitigated. Again, it's never simple, but we're sensitive to the impact all of this has on Kazakhstan.